So if you've ever been to an air show and you've had a look at some of the machines there, like have a look at some military machines like fighter jets and such, and study the attention to detail. And I think you don't even have to go, and you already know, okay, well, the attention to detail is going to be outstanding. So anyways, kind of with all that in mind, I want to do a bit of a review on this Apollo 11 moonlander. I've got, I think, some other Apollo missions mixed in here yet too. I'll kind of let you know when that happens. But all the pictures that I'm going to show you are from NASA.gov, or when I was on NASA.gov, NASA.gov also provided a link to a Apollo image archive. So that's where also I got a number of these pictures. So let's dig into this a bit. So keep in mind that I'm going to be more critical of this thing because of who built it. Like, for example, if my kids had built something like this in the backyard and it was supposed to be used as a play fort or something like that, I mean, I would look at it completely different than you know, if NASA builds it. Okay, so with that in mind, I just want to show you a couple of things here, and I got myself kind of going on this ladder thing, and that's one of the things we're going to look at. I'm going to start with that, and I want you to see. Okay, so this picture, it's called Aldrin backing out of the LM hatch, and let's go to another picture here. So you can see as he's he kind of backs out onto this platform, and so he's kind of blind as he's going to have to kind of reach down with his legs somehow and find this ladder. So it's kind of like an odd thing. Like, imagine if you are getting off the roof of your house and your ladder is kind of tucked up under the eave of the roof just a little bit, and you have to kind of reach down, and I don't know, it's kind of like an oddball way of doing this. I'm going to zoom in a bit here. So look, so he's just come off that platform, and this is what I want to show you guys. Look at this ladder. Look at right here where his feet are going to go. They've got like half of a pipe or a tube or something. It's taped onto the ladder. I mean, the guy has just come off what I would imagine like blind to where he's going to be stepping, because he's got this suit and stuff, and he's kind of laying on that platform. So now he's coming over the edge, and he's got to make sure he doesn't step on this thing that they've taped on here. And so you'd think, well, maybe that's the only spot, but then a little ways down they've got another one. Like, here's another spot where it's kind of like a trip and fall hazard. You know, in this situation, if these guys poke a hole in their suit, they will, you know, how much chance do they have of surviving? Because I think to get pressure back, they would have to crawl back in and get everything closed up and repressurize the cabin. And how long would that all take? You know what I mean? So you kind of want to keep your guys safe. I mean, somehow slip and hook on something here. So the description on this picture is LM/Aldrin, and the ID number on it is AS11-40-5928, and that is in the Apollo archives. So up on top you can see kind of like this round disc up on top there, and it kind of hangs over. It sort of looks like maybe they were thinking that they could pull the paneling out to kind of match the shape of that disc. I'm not sure. And the paneling is see how it's kind of pushed in here, and the waving and the buckling right here is a pretty good gap right here. And they use an assortment of colors. So they've got the dark ones here, and here they've got a combination of the light, dark, light. And you see the paneling here. This is what I want to get into later in the next picture. There's a pretty good shot coming up of this paneling, and particularly I think it's this corner here that we're going to look at. So you can see the buckling, you know, the bowing here. And so here's an interesting thing also. Look at this area. So back in the day we had crossbar pads on our dirt bikes, and I've still got one on my old CR. And so it looks like a covering on some foam maybe underneath, right along here. And look in the back here, so you see they got one. I guess maybe they didn't have, the covering wasn't long enough or something, and so, but evidently they had an abundance of foil tape, so they kind of got some tape going on there to get that thing on there. And over here, this looks like the foam that you might have, like if you want to insulate the pipes in your basement or something like that. So here's some more what looks like foam without the covering. You see the little slot right in there, and a little piece of tape over this what looks like foam. Okay, so this is the corner now that I think I was looking at in the previous picture, right here, and I'm going to zoom in on that. So this is a high-res picture on the Apollo archives, and it's titled Close-up of LM, and the ID number on that picture is AS11-40-5922. So if you have a look at that, like when I was looking at this for a while, I actually called the wife over and to get her to have a look at this, because it was rather amazing, and I don't mean it was amazing in a good way. So let's back up a bit here. So this darker colored paneling, I'm assuming that they used that to make a patch here, because it kind of looks like they came up a little short on the floor, and so they wanted to finish this off, so they got that other piece of paneling there, and they looks like they bent it into this shape. And I mentioned maybe before that it seems they have an abundance of this gold foil tape, so they got that in there. And look at the fit over here also. Like you got a big buckle right here. You could probably almost get your hand in there, and you can see on the paneling like the fit, the way it's bowing and buckling there. And so we'll go a little bit on the bottom here. So down here, this looks to me like what maybe some construction paper, like what you'd have like in a school project. So obviously I don't know exactly what it is, and it's kind of wrinkled and possibly damaged in some areas. It seems like they put tape on some damaged spots. I'm not sure what's all happened here, the little spots of tape. But you know, the interesting thing about this tape is it would have had to have been put on in the fabrication shop, because it would seem to me that when the astronauts are out and about and doing their work, they would likely care less whether or not there's a little tear or something in the material, and even if they did want to put tape on, how would they possibly do that with gloves on? So that means this looked like this with the tape and likely most of this wrinkling in the fabrication shop, and they sent it out of the door that way. I don't know, something about it. But this corner here, that really got me. When I was looking at that, I tell you what, guys, look at that. The buckling and the bowing and the patching and the tape. Here's another shot of panels. Have a look at the overhang here. There's probably maybe 1-2 inches of panel that just kind of hangs there like that. And here in this corner, you can see again that something's been going on here with kind of an odd fitting system there. And over here I noticed, so this is that little rocket direction blaster, one of them here, and looks like they've got kind of like a curved support for this little guide for the blast. So they could have, I guess, cut that off a little shorter. There's probably an inch that they could have cut off, and it's extra weight. This piece, it kind of reminds me of that molding that maybe you might find on some cars where you open the door and where the door jamb transitions to the panels on the interior. Like there's kind of like a C-shaped molding that kind of goes around there. That's kind of what it reminds me of. And remember this odd-shaped box? And I think we're on the other side now. I'll just go up here a bit. Remember that dish that was on the top, and then it looked like they kind of maybe pulled that panel out. So I think we're on the back side now. So you remember that gap here under this panel, and that odd shaped box with the different colored panels on the sides and stuff. Okay, so on the back side, that's I think where we are now. Have a look at this and check that out. So to me it looks like they've got some kind of tubing or something going through this panel, and right in this area it looks like they have something fastened to that tubing so that maybe the panel could attach to this assembly, right? So, but look at the gap here. I mean, you could probably reach right inside there, almost. Big gap. I'm assuming that this is aluminum now. So, like, look at the fit and finish of this machine, like right here. Check that out. So, probably 1.5 inches too big, maybe 2 inches too much room there. And something happened here. And look at the... and it just keeps going, guys. It just seems to keep going. So, more stuff going on here with the way they fabricated this and fit it together. You can see up here, and like wow. Oh yeah, there's a thing I found here too. So look at the panel right here. So they got the rivets going on here, rivets, and then here they cut the panel. You see how they cut a corner out of it? Kind of looks like that panel should be fitting in here nice, but they cut a corner out of it. When they, like, why would they have to cut that corner out of there? Why wouldn't you make it fit the machine nice, you know? If you look right here, there's a little fastener, see? And another one here, and I think it's the same kind of fasteners that they were using along the top here. And there's a pair here and a pair here. And you can see it kind of pulls in that material as it's inserted. So this looks like the same kind of a fastener, and it's obviously quite a bit different than what I think here is a rivet. Okay, a couple of rivets here, and a very small little fastener here, and you can see it pulls that panel in a little bit right there where it pushes in. So you guys think a little bit, what kind of a fastener would be really small like that and fasten into a light brown colored material on the back side? What do you think about that a little bit? So this shot is from Apollo 17, and the ID number on this one in the Apollo archives is AS17-149-22859. And interesting. So you have a look at the gaps on the paneling here, and the huge buckle going on right here, something going on here, and and I'm not sure if this is a window or a light or something like that, but you can see how it fits. It fits here. It seems to fit nice, and then it seems to lift off of the panel here. There's a shadow. See that? What I really want to show you in this picture, what kind of got me curious, have a look at the foil that's underneath the machine here. Okay, so Apollo 17, they've got and so here's the rocket, the exhaust thruster bell, whatever we would call that, and right beside it you've got this foil. See all this foil here. Now check this out. As it takes off to mount up with the other machine that's still in orbit, allegedly, as you guys could probably tell already by now, that and I'll tell you guys right out, this whole thing is, in my opinion, one giant hoax. It's probably one of the greatest hoaxes ever pulled on mankind, and I would say the biggest would be the lie about evolution, the lie about there is no God. This thing is just about to launch. Watch this little video here. I just actually grabbed this off of YouTube.
99, proceeded, 3, 2, 1, ignition. Right away, Houston. Vector good. Excellent.
And you notice the the extreme blast that rocket makes as it takes off. So we'll play it again.
One, ignition. Right away, Houston. Vector good.
So I have a question for you guys. The question is, how is this foil still attached to the bottom of the machine when you get such an extreme blast right next to this foil? How's that even possible? Okay, so back to this picture here, and you remember here's where we started with the ladder and stuff. And so back to this picture. You tell me, guys, I got a question for you now. A little bit of foil up here, and doing some patching or something. But here's the question, guys. Tell me, do you see cardboard? Do you guys see cardboard? You guys see cardboard directly in front of the guy in the picture? But when I look at this, man, I just see, like, after all the stuff that I've shown you guys about this machine, don't you think it's possible that this is actually cardboard? That's what it looks like to me. Obviously I can't confirm that, but that's kind of what I get out of that. When he does go down the ladder, I do have to add, though, I guess, that he does have the handles to hold onto here to help guide him onto the ladder with all the tape and foil. And think about how they teach our little kids about evolution in schools, teaching our little kids that there is no God. How many people die every day having to find out the hard way, having to stand before our Creator, our dear Heavenly Father? So I've decided for myself personally, man, I have decided I'm bowing my knees before Jesus and repenting before I die. And I've already done that, and man, I am not, if I would wait till after I die, you know, I'm in some serious trouble then, you know. I need a Savior. You know, we all do. I'm just saying, guys, just saying.